Hi guys, and welcome back to Making It with Dee. I'm Dee, and in today's video I'm going to be taking you along with me on my crochet journey. So where I started as a beginner, I still think I'm a beginner, but how I progressed throughout my journey. I'm going to be sharing some of my projects, some of my made things, and I hope you enjoy the journey. So when I started as a crocheter, I thought, I can knit, so surely crochet shouldn't be that hard. I used to get little video clips or photos from my niece who was into crocheting hats, and she showed me all these cute little hats that she crocheted, and I thought, oh, I wonder if I can do that. So of course I resorted to my favorite learning channel, my favorite learning platform, YouTube, and I learned how to chain and how to crochet a straight line. I didn't get it right at first because I kept dropping stitches, and I still kind of struggle a little bit with keeping the number of stitches. And actually the thing about crochet is that it's very forgiving when you do that, I find. But if you're sticking to a pattern, then it can be quite tricky because you need to have a certain number of stitches, or either odd or even number, in order to make the pattern look right. I learned that the hard way. So I started following YouTube tutorials on how to create things. The first thing I created, or one of the first things I created, was this headband, and it has kind of plain-ish stitches on here, but it also has a very complicated little bobble stitch. And of course, when you're watching a YouTube tutorial, it goes step by step, so you can't really go wrong with that. So I think it turned out okay. I don't know if this is called a picot stitch or not, or if it's a bubble stitch, I can't remember. But so I just learned it off the video, followed the tutorial, and came up with this. The trick to getting this making it look like a knot is in the stitching up of it. So that worked out quite well for me. So this was my first project, following a YouTube tutorial. And then I thought, man, I can do this. So let's try other things. And then I kind of moved on to smaller things, which I thought would help me learn how to do some of these other stitches. So I moved on to little collars, and I love these collars. This one looks a little bit watermelony, but it's only because of the colors choices. And these I could do with like scraps of material of wool. I have cotton here, so this is I think it was 100% cotton that I used, cotton yarn, to make these collars. So this one was from leftover wool, and I will show a picture of how this looks when it's on. And then I made another one which I didn't quite finish, but I really like these little scalloped edges that I learned to do. I love it, these little scalloped edges on the ends here. It's so pretty when you wear it over a t-shirt, plain colored t-shirt, and you can it just adds a little bit of extra flair. Now I am no fashion victim, so I crochet what I like, not really what's on trend. I'm not a trend follower or setter or anything like that, so I just crochet the things that I like, that looks good to me. As you can tell from what I'm wearing, this is something I've knitted, and this is probably for another video. But if you want to check out my previous video where I talk about the things that I've knitted, I didn't actually include this in there. So this is from a pattern in a book, and the pattern is just for a single color, but I decided to block it, and then I did some cross stitch embroidery over the top. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that I do. I embellish and I do my own thing, and to me it looks good, and so I wear it. But I guess if you're a yarn snob, which I'm hoping to become, because it's so expensive, then this acrylic vest is just meh. Okay, I digress, but let's get back to the crochet video. And so I went into these little accessories and following YouTube videos, and once I thought that I was comfortable following a YouTube video and I could do a certain number of stitches, I thought, let's progress on to like bigger things, like clothing items that I could wear. So one of the first ones I tried was this bead stitch jumper, and it's a video on YouTube. I will put it in the cards. And so I followed this YouTube video to create this jumper. This is again Australian wool, 100% Australian wool. And then I interspersed it a little bit on the sleeves because I am extra. I decided to do the bead stitches in different colors. This is wool that I also from leftover wool, so scrap yarn from one of those yarn cakes that, you know, that has all the multicolors in it. So I decided to do that with this, with the sleeves. I added all the bead stitches in different colors, and I tried to make sure that the same colors were on this side as well. And I will insert a video of me wearing this jumper. I have to say, I'm quite impressed with how it turned out. I like this ribbing stitch. It's not a rib stitch, it's, I don't know what it is. Must be single crochets. But I like how it looks like ribbing and how it is quite long on the cuff. I enjoy that. That looks good. And I'll show you what it looks like on as well. And so then I went on to this really big project. I thought I was so good at crocheting. I can tackle this. I can now start following patterns without video tutorials. So that's when I took on the next project. From this book. This book is so old. This is Autumn Winter 2013 collection. Like I said, I am not a fashion victim. I will go back to trends from earlier years if I like the look of it. So in this book, there's this pattern, and I'll show you what it looks like. If I can find it. Here we go. So this pattern here is what I try to follow, and if I tell you that I had to start over several times because I messed up, believe me, it was a struggle. Oh my goodness. So we have different rows of stitches, different patterns of stitches in this cardie, this long cardie. It's a jacket, and I made it out of pure wool as well, but I didn't use this color because I don't think this color is flattering on me. So I made it in this orange, this beautiful bright orange wool, pure wool. Because I love this color and I think this color looks really good on me. So I had to start over several times because, like I mentioned before, when you're following a pattern, it has a certain number of stitches, and my stitch counting for crochet is never accurate. So I botched it a few times. You start at the bottom and you work your way up, and so I started with the back. So it's a back and two sides that you have to seam up, And so yeah, I had to learn all these different techniques in order to keep my stitch count straight because otherwise it would have grown in size and length and width and all that stuff if I didn't keep my stitch count together. But this is one piece that I'm really proud of. Now, I didn't block it, which I probably should have, and it's still not too late for me to block it. I could probably still block it, but I think that it holds its shape really well, and I think the fit is pretty good, as you'll see on the video that I played you. So I had to learn all these awesome techniques, which I love learning, so that was cool. And so this was my first kind of pattern without a tutorial that I followed, without a video tutorial. So I am very pleased with the success of it, and I think because I could do this, I thought, right, now I am a crocheter. Now I can do anything. Now I can crochet anything, right? So I then thought, granny squares? Yeah, granny squares. Everybody who crochets can crochet a granny square. And I thought, right, let's get into this granny square thing. The thing that got me about granny squares was the magic circle. Now, I followed tutorials, of course, video tutorials on how to do this magic circle. Because that's your starting point for a granny square. And took me a few tries, but eventually I got it. I had to be really careful. I had to start using stitch markers because I didn't know how to count stitches. I couldn't actually tell where one stitch started and where it ended. So I struggled with that, and that messed up my stitch count, obviously. So when I entered into the granny square world, yeah, it was so hard. But eventually I got it. So let me show you what I created with granny squares. Where's the first thing? Let me show you the first thing I created with granny squares. It's actually a jumper, a cardigan with puff daisies, and I love the colors. This one I used cotton. The bright pink color is cotton that I shipped from China because of the price. I love the price. I love this ribbing that I did on here. So this is a YouTube tutorial actually that I followed. This girl did this beautiful puff daisy cardi, and this is the back of it. And she only showed how to do the granny squares, and then she basically talked through how she stitched it together. So I had to figure out how to stitch granny squares together, how to sew them together, because it wasn't very clear on the video. Also, the ribbing wasn't shown on the video, so I had to find a YouTube video to teach me how to do ribbing. So I did ribbing on the ends once it was sewn together. I did the ribbing here, and I added my own cute little buttons to it. These floral buttons that I bought at a shop. It was like I think it was a yarn shop. When we were on a road trip one day, I walked in and I found all these cute little buttons. I bought heaps of it. So there, I will insert a video clip of this cardi on me. I get lots of compliments whenever I wear this cardi. People often will say something about it. Young people even, which I find interesting. Again, I am no fashion victim, so for me, I wear what I like, and I like this, so I started wearing it. In any case, so that was my first granny square project, and then I went into some other granny square projects. Now, because everyone does a granny square differently, there's different patterns, different flowers, different shapes, different things that you can find inside a granny square. I ventured into this bucket hat Now the color is not that fantastic, but I think I kind of like the colors that I chose to create this granny square in here. This was again a YouTube tutorial that I followed, and the yarn I used here is kind of raw fiber. I worked at a school once and I made these. I volunteered to make these, or we were asked if anybody could crochet, and I made these reusable water balloons for the school for the kids to play with during summer. And so I made quite a few, and then noticed in the craft stash at the school that there was all this beautiful, there was a big stash of raw fiber, and I asked if I could use some of it because I could see there was projects in my future that I could use it for, and the lady said to me, help yourself. So I did. And so this is about part of the yarn that came from that stash. And I made this bucket hat, and now again the problem for me was the sewing together of it. It turned out to be quite big looking, but even on the video, the YouTube video, it's quite big as well on the girl who made it, who designed it. But she used quite pretty colors, and yeah, I just wanted to try my luck with bucket hats. So yeah, it goes over my big hair quite well, so that's not too bad. And now I've messed up my hairstyle. So I can fix it. Okay, bucket hat, granny square. And then of course, who doesn't love a granny square blanket, right? So I worked out how to do a heart-shaped granny square. I didn't work it out myself. I followed a YouTube tutorial on how to make these heart granny squares. And so I decided that I will make a blanket, a baby blanket. And this was from leftover yarn, so it's not a very big blanket, but it could just be like in the stroller over the baby. And I just love the colors, and I love the way that this cream yarn, how the colors kind of came out. And so this one I blocked, and look how beautiful it turned out. I'm really pleased with this blanket. The only problem is that I ran out of this blue wool right in the last row for the edging. So I started the edging, as you can see, and went all the way around until I got to here. And so this is the last piece that needs edging, and I don't have enough wool. I tried finding scraps and adding little scrap pieces to it. But yeah, so this is going to remain, I guess, forever unfinished. I tried to find wool that could match the color, and I couldn't find. I bought different colors, different kinds of blue, or this kind of yarn, this color, but it's not the same, and it's not exactly the same shade. So I might just unravel all the edging and then add a different edging all together so that it can go all the way around, just to finish it, and so that I can give it to somebody who's just had a baby. How's that? I really love how this project turned out. It's quite beautiful and very precious to me. But yeah, so this is my other granny square thing, and the next granny square thing I will show you is bags. Now, this bag that's been hanging here, as you can see, is a beautiful sunflower granny square. And this is another tutorial that I watched, how to do the sunflower granny square, and then I watched a separate tutorial on how to put this bag together. This is the one where you create like 16 granny squares of this size, any size really, and then you sew it on together to make this bag. And I have to say, I kind of love it. I love the colors that I had used. My sunflowers are beautiful. And yeah, the pattern was very easy to follow. Granny squares can be very time consuming if you're new to it, which I was, and especially if you're changing colors in between. So but I kind of enjoyed the process quite a lot. It's kind of meditative, if you know what I mean. If you know, you know, right? If you know granny squares, then you know. And so I ventured into the sunflowers thing, and then I want to show you something else. I made a sunflower, and then I ventured into other little tchotchkes, for lack of a better word. I created this beautiful little sunflower pouch, and this I did off of a YouTube tutorial as well. And by now you can tell that I have mastered my magic circle skill. And this is a very, very cute little sunflower. It's a pouch, so you can put stuff like maybe a lip balm or something in here, and then it closes quite nicely. You can kind of bring it up like that. I get lots of compliments on this sunflower as well, so that's pretty cute. And I did a number of these little sunflowers for colleagues in a previous job that I left, and so I left them a little sunflower each. Each of the ladies got a sunflower, and the guys got a little emoji keyring. This keychain I also crocheted, and I just used the little cotton. I have a little stash of cotton, different colors, and so very small little hook size. I think it was probably 2mm hook that I used to create these little keychains. And this was my first entrance into amigurumi, which is the next step of my journey that I took. And I love these these emojis. I created several different ones which I gave away, and it exposed me to this new technique as well of, you know, stuffing and sewing up these little things and doing little faces on there. Because I love embroidery so much, it didn't matter. I actually liked this. I love how it turned out. And so yeah, following a YouTube tutorial as well, I did this. I created these little emojis. I created a few of them, but I gave away. And then the next little tchotchke that I made was these tulips. They are tulips, right? I just thought, oh, they'd be really cute to make because it looked cute. I wanted to have something to hang on the bags that I made. And then I saw this and I thought, oh, that would be nice. Look. It's got little leaves on the side here. And this can kind of just be hooked onto something. So again, made with cotton, and that raw fiber was the green bit. I just thought it was so cute. So I made these. And then like I said before, I ventured into this bag situation, and this one here is probably, was it one of the first ones I made? Japanese knot bag, I think it is. Also from a pattern, from a YouTube tutorial. So I followed the YouTube tutorial. And I'll just show pictures of what they look like. Very cute. And I did another bag. And the reason why I use this yarn only for bags and other accessories is because it's quite scratchy. I tried to knit a jumper for my son with it, and I thought that if I blocked it, or I could use like a fabric softener or something, and that it would soften it up. It did soften it, but not enough to make it wearable. So I thought it's probably best to just use it for things like this. So for bags, I love these bags. They're quite quick to make. It's just one stitch. You don't have to remember much, and it's just several rows of it, and that's all. So there was that one as well that I made. And that is my bag stash. And my bag and little accessories type goodies. This green color is another fiber that I used. Color of the fiber, that yarn that I got at the school. So there's that. And then I thought, let's venture into amigurumi, because I got this emoji idea and I thought, oh, that's quite cute. What else can I make? And so I got a book at the library that had patterns of little animals that you could crochet. And I started with this frog that you can see vaguely in here. I'll bring it closer so that you can have a close-up. Now this frog, my kids call him Kermit. This guy is actually a mistake. That's why he's not round, and that's why he's so humongous. So, but I finished it, even in the mistake that it was. The mistake I made was reading the single crochet stitch. Oh no, double crochet? Single crochet stitch. Oh my goodness, I can't even articulate. I think it was a double crochet, and I used the actual double crochet from I don't know which translation. I don't know if it's the UK or the American one that creates the double crochet. It must be the American one. That's double crochet. We use two loops, and the single crochet is one loop, a single loop, right? I mistook the double crochet for being double loops, which created this long guy. We were supposed to be round because the double crochet that was mentioned in the book was meant to be only one loop. So I made this guy and I stuffed him, and he's here and I'm keeping him. And then I thought, okay, if I could do this guy, let's try something else. And I saw an owl in the book, in the same pattern book. And I started this owl, and it also had the single crochet stitch. The double crochet stitch. And when I looked at my first few rows on the owl, and I looked at the picture in the book, and I thought, nah, something's not right. I'm making a mistake here. I ripped everything out and started again. And I thought, still not right. When I went to the back of the book, to the glossary, where they show you the terminology, what they mean, I looked at what they thought was a double crochet, and it was a single crochet. And so that's where I realized my mistake. So I started my owl and I fixed the owl, and oh my goodness, what a gorgeous creature. Look at this guy. This little owl is my pride and joy. Look at him. I just love all the texture on it. Textured stitches, this little scallops that created here, and the eyes, and everything about it is just gorgeous. My owl baby, he is beautiful. Came out really good, and I am very proud of this owl because I happened to catch my mistake right at the start. Otherwise I probably would have had a giant funny shaped owl as well if I had continued in this way. But I learned from my mistakes, and that's when I created this owl. And I think this is probably, up to this point, the last thing that I crocheted when I went back into knitting. And I am looking to continue my crochet journey, to learning to do some more intricate things, following patterns, learning how to deal with my stitch count issues because I'm pretty sure that I probably didn't stick to the stitch count for this guy, but I made it work, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to just keep making it work. I want to actually become more accurate with my stitch count for my crochet. And so that is the sum total of my crochet journey. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video to the end. If you got here, please consider subscribing to my channel. It will really help my channel out. I'm trying to grow my subscriber count, and I was hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're nearly there, and I'm nowhere near it. But I would appreciate your subscription to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.